who made all that gorgeous food. And then a few more people, Brian Scarry and Giulio Cormasi, who did the original composition on the film. The music is just stunning. And then two more people, Benny Mouton, who did the sound design on the film, and Steve Bagani, who made it look so unbelievably gorgeous. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, Charlie.
I apologize for being late. I had a hard time finding 199 Chambers. Everybody else in New York knows where it is, so my apologies. Let me just start with asking the title, The Last Magnificent. What a great title for anybody.
Yeah, the title really came from that moment in the film, and that's actually something that I read in Jeremiah's memoir, California Dish, where he talked about his hero, Lucius Beebe, and really described him as one of the last magnificents. I mean, here's a man who, as it says in the film, single-handedly helped create cafe society. So in trying to come up with the title, and there was several flying around, that one really landed as the most appropriate.
Jeremiah, why do you think it was appropriate?
Well, it came from that gourmet article written by Jim Villas. And appropriate because Lucius Beebe was and still is my hero, you know.
Why is he your hero?
Well, because anyone who can say that there's nothing wrong in your life that can't be corrected by a hot bird in a cold bottle gets my vote.
Mine too. What does he mean to you?
Jeremiah was, long before I met him, I never ate at Stars. I never met Jeremiah Tower, but he was a constant in my career. His food influenced all the food that I was exposed to. The name kept coming up. You could not avoid crossing paths with or encountering his influence. And then I read his memoir, and I felt a sense of rage and historic injustice, and saw him as a really compelling character with a story that needed to be told, and it just kind of it became a cause for me. And I think, as with all stories, films, television shows, you start out with one story and it becomes something else.
The cause was to make a film?
The cause was to make a film. The cause was to tell a story in a visual and compelling way, an almost evangelical way, actually, to show people how large a figure, how important a figure he is, how all of us eat, the way we eat in restaurants today, the way the restaurant looks, the way it feels, the way we experience it, our expectations for it, the food we eat, all of the menus we read, all of these things were hugely influenced by Jeremiah, and I didn't feel that he had gotten his due.
But there's also the mystery.
Well, I mean, the mystery here is why. Why is he the way he is, and why? What? Well, I mean, over the years, I've been making a lot of television about food, and pictures of beautiful food being shoved into people's faces is only interesting for a while. It's not what we eat so much that's important to me. It's who's cooking it and why they are cooking that particular food, and I think this is a really good example of that.
But you also said there's a locked room inside his mind.
Well, I mean, that's true of everyone, but
No
I
longer.
think... yeah,
We all know now.
I keep bringing up John Birdsall's article because it was such a wonderful expression. He wrote an article about Jeremiah called Jeremiah Tower's Invincible Armor of Pleasure, and I think it's really wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, when I first met him, it was clear that he was a consummate curator of his public image, and you know, it was
Curator of his public image.
Yes, I think.
Did you see it that way, Jeremiah? That you were curating a public image?
When it was working, yes, I did.
And it was a big conversation that we had from the get-go about, you know, not wanting this project to just be a fluff piece about his career. That it really, you know, we needed to go deeper than that.
You know, what did you want to unravel?
Well, I mean, we did a lot of the interviews prior to the big interview with him, and that came up over and over. You know, Jeremiah is a mystery. Jeremiah has a private side that has never really been revealed. Jeremiah, you know, keeps his personal life very, very, very locked up.
Damn right.
And I think, you know, that obviously becomes such an interesting, you know, motivation to try to push forward. So.
And what was the most difficult thing about making the film?
I would say initially just trying to get to that place where there was enough trust for him to be directed. I don't think he wanted to be directed in the beginning. He was basically telling me what to do. And that was a bit of a process.
Yes, but you always win, you know. Lydia's motto was, when I would say, okay, look, 5 hours of interview is more than enough, she'd say, my motto is never give up. And then look at me like, well, I'm supposed to? I mean, I'm not used to giving up. But thank God Lydia prevailed.
Let's talk a little bit about leaving the culinary world. Why were you doing that?
Well, there's a lot of talk about, you know, I just disappeared. But, you know, I'd always loved that thing about with Greta Garbo, where she said, and she didn't say I want to be alone. She said I want to be left alone. Big difference. But also I thought, okay, I've sold Stars. I've sold the Stars group, made a decent amount of money. What am I supposed to do now? I'm going to sit in San Francisco, go to Zuni for lunch every day, and everyone's going to say, you know, he's getting older and older, you know, and now what's he doing now? And I just thought, you know what? It's sort of pathetic. So I moved to New York, where I knew that nobody would give me any leeway at all. So, and then after 9/11, I went to Mexico.
And were you forgotten?
Well, I mean, I did my best to be forgotten.
Did it succeed?
No. Thanks to Tony and Lydia, no.
I think Jeremiah became inconvenient to the narrative. A lot. Yeah. Jeremiah left San Francisco. And so the history of the American food revolution was sort of left to the victors to tell, the people who were still there. And a lot of journalists, for various reasons, laziness, active dishonesty, I think, they had continuing access to the people who were still around. Jeremiah is a difficult man. He made a lot of enemies. It just became inconvenient to have him around telling his
Inconvenient.
Inconvenient, yeah. It was just easier to tell a simple story. This is who created the American food revolution. This is who the mother of slow cooking is. It all happened, and most significantly, I was there, and we're still friends. He became sort of a remittance man in the classic sense of, you know, they just hope he stays away.
I mean, for me, there was that, you know, Jonathan Waxman said, you know, Jeremiah, why don't you just shut up? There was this, and I felt that, you know, so I thought, okay, look, no one believes, no one's going to tell the story that we saw today. I didn't know Tony then, and he says it better than anyone, but at the time I thought, you know what, it's more dignified to just go to the beach.
And people don't like complicated stories. They like simple stories, or they think they like simple stories, and nuance has become more and more difficult to communicate.
Jeremiah, were you difficult? Demanding?
Demanding, yes, but that's not the same as difficult. I found people were always saying I was difficult because I just said, you know, I was thinking of a waiter, a busboy back at Chez Panisse days, and he kept putting his fingers in the food when he was taking the plates. I said, what is it about your job description that you think your fingers should be in the food? He looked at me and said, well, I'm a person too, you know. And I said, your point is? What can I say?
Well, I mean, do you have some idea that as good as you are,